Okay then, for this week's video we're going to do a natural edge bowl out of this piece of lime. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it over to the bandsaw before I set up the cameras and stuff, and just cut it into a blank as close as I can to whatever the biggest blank is. And I'll go through in the video what's the difference between a natural edge and a live edge bowl and all that kind of stuff, and why it's called what. Right, so I'll do that and I'll be right back at the lathe. Right, and we've put it into a very rough round shape on the bandsaw. It is quite rough. What I'm going to do first though is I'm going to bring it over to the pillar drill, and I'm just going to mill a flat spot there in the middle for the faceplate to go. Right, so I'll do that and I'll be right back. Right then, we have the blank on, it's held on a faceplate. Now, what I want to do here is I want to keep that bark on, right? And the first thing I have to do is round it off. This blank has a big crack going through it there. I'm about to fill it with CA. Hopefully it'll stay. It doesn't look too bad in the middle. Here in the outsides it is. But we'll have to see when we get into it, right? Now, as I said, I want to keep that bark on. So I've mounted it where the high side is a little bit further away, right? And the low side is up close here, because I want to try and keep the bowl as high as I can on the sides. I don't like doing the, you know, the classic boat shaped natural edge bowls. Right, natural edge versus live edge. The way I was taught this 30 odd years ago, right, was live edge does not have bark, natural edge does. It's like, you know, those fancy tables people buy, the natural edge tables. Think about it, they don't have bark on them, right? They just have the natural shape of the tree. Whereas live, this is how I have it in my head anyway, live looks like the tree when it was alive. It has bark. That's what I believe the difference is, right? Somebody else might have a different opinion, and if you do, I'd like to hear about it, please, down in the comments. No problems with somebody having a different opinion, of course. I would just be interested to know the logic behind your idea. But anyway, right, now, as I said, the main thing I want to do on this is keep that bark on. So what I do not want to do is cut that direction to force the bark off. I want all my cuts, if I can, to be pushing the bark onto the piece, right? So I'm going to round it off, cutting that direction. As I said, I think this is actually a piece of lime. I'm not 100% sure. I just grabbed it out of the log store and it was where the lime was. Right. So we try one more cut, see if I can get it nice and clean. Let's keep that edge clean. Look, yeah, that is a nice clean cut on that. Now what I want to do is, see here in the join, I want to soak that join in thin CA, because that again will help keep that bark on. So what I'm going to do is just there in the cadmium layer, right, I'm just going to soak that on. If it's going to give, it's going to give where that layer meets the wood. And I want to give this as much of a chance as I can of staying. This is just as like doing this in thin CA, just it gives you that extra little bit of security, right? Now the bark can still come off. This just kind of helps it a little bit, gives it a little bit more strength at the edge there. Next thing I want to do, flatten here off, and I want to put a tenon on it, not a mortise. Because of that crack, I want that to squeeze in rather than push out at the crack. If this works, this could be quite a pretty bowl, because that wood doesn't look too bad. Those cracks are probably going to have to be filled. Right, but we'll see how it goes. Now when I'm shaping the bowl, I am going to have to cut upwards against this, but what I want to make sure of is my tools are really sharp and I'm cutting very gently, right? And hopefully that CA should really help that edge stay together. Right, so I'll flatten here off and put a tenon on it. That crack is wide there. Right, I'm going to have to fill that crack. As I said, I wasn't 100% sure until I get into this. What I would have to do with that crack, but I'm going to have to fill it, because it's at the widening out there. So I'm going to take this off, fill that with sawdust and CA, and I'll be right back. Right, and then that crack is filled as deep as I can get it where we are at the moment. So I'm going to mark for the tenon. Oh, I just clicked that, so everybody's no longer right, it's not. There. I have gripper jaws in the chuck, so it's just going to be a flat tenon. I'm going to make it quite deep because of that, crack. Now we get the bottom of the bowl down to that. Nice flat surface. Now we have a look at that crack. Right, it's opened up a little bit again there, but it seems to be solid enough that I can actually shape this bowl. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shape the bowl, and then I'm going to deal with that crack again. Right, so as normal with any bowl, I'm going to get that tool rest where I want it. Just going to knock off that corner. Look how bad that crack is. It's still there, but the shaping should take a lot of it out. Now, do I want a foot on this or not? I think I will actually put a foot on this again to try and get rid of some of that crack. So, rule of thirds round about there. Right, I'm going to use this just to try and get rid of some more of that crack. Right, I'll actually put a foot on it. I'll be taking all that away, so about there. when I split this piece, I was hoping that that crack wouldn't be this deep, but it is, so just deal with it. Right. Now we get the shape of this bolt. Now this is where I have to be careful because I will be cutting that direction, and I want to make sure I do not pull this off. Now I have to pull cut out from there. Drop that slightly. Look. Yeah, we should be able to sort out that crack already. Oh, that's pretty there. Right, now continue that curve up. Taking it very easy, remembering that I'm going to be cutting into this bark, so I have to be careful. Now when you get here to the outside, remember you're going to be cutting air at some stages. And if you look there, I am no longer cutting here. Right, I'm cutting up here. It's kind of like a winged bowl at this stage. Right, I'm going to turn up the speed to help myself, like I would in a winged bowl. Right. Small little cuts to keep pressure off that bark. See how I'm doing? Nearly there. Last little bit there, I was doing nothing but cutting bark, and it's dead on. Right, I will be going around that again with CA. Right, now I just want to finish the shape at the bottom of this bowl because the cut is not great. There we go, that's a little better than there's a slight bump there I don't like. Now, here we go. It's roughly the outside shape of the bowl. I'm going to go around there again with CA again, try and keep that bark on. And I will put some more sawdust and CA into that crack. Right then, we let that dry and it'll hold it. Right, well that's drying, I'll take it off and I'll put some more into that crack. This was supposed to be an easy video. Right, if you ever have to do something like that, if possible, use actual sawdust. Right, I want to put that back on because I want to clean out that. If possible, use actual sawdust, like from your saw. I just want to get that clean, because it will go down deeper into the crack. Okay, that's nice and clean. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand the outside of this, and unlike my normal finishing routine, I'm going to sand this, and I'm not going to use Yorkshire grit or sanding sealer on it, because with live edge bowls I like to use Danish oil as the finish on them, and I don't want anything in between the oil and the wood. So I'll sand the outside of this and I'll be back in a second. Alright, and there we have it, sanded down to 400. Quite a nice finish on it. There's a few interesting bits in this. As I said, I think this is lime because that's what I grabbed it from outside. Right, okay, now I'm not going to put a finish on here because I want to get the whole thing turned, and you have to leave oh god, hang on a minute, the Danish oil a while to dry, so I want to continue turning this. So I'm going to take this off, flip it round, and do the inside. So I'll do that, I'll be right back. Right, then we're flipped around. You can see the flat I milled into it there. Now, yet again, what I want to do is protect the bark. So what I'm going to do is, with a parting tool, now some people do this, some people don't do it, some people disagree with it. I've been doing it for years. With a parting tool, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to give myself a clean cut. Basically, I'm going to define the bowl, right? And the thing is, it's a diamond parting tool. Oops, wrong way. It's a diamond parting tool, and I'm going to be doing this quite slowly. So round about there. Now I'm going to get rid of some of this here on the middle before I cut down that, because that's too far of a stretch, especially using a parting tool. So I'll just get rid of some of the middle of this. You're going to be very careful doing this. Let's get rid of a lot of the height there. And okay, so here we go again. Should be it. It's close enough. Right then, now we're going to start hollowing this. It's basically the same as any other bowl. You just have to be very careful and remember that there's a very high side on this. Right now, when I get down a bit, when I get rid of some of this, I'm going to go through the inside there again with CA to yet again make sure that bark stays on. Right, slow it down. Now, I might be getting in the way of that macro camera for the moment. Because with these bowls, I can't put the gouge here. I have to keep it over there. Back hollow it a bit. What I have to be careful of here, I'll stop this to show you, okay, is if I put the gouge, say here, to hollow the way I normally would, I'm going to catch that. That's just something to be aware of. We're doing these bowls. So I'm going to move that macro camera, as I'm really getting in the way of it. Seems to be some boards outside the window. Right. Now I'm going to go around the edge of that with some CA to help the bark stay on. Don't know if the mic's picking that up, but some boards walking around on the roof of the shed, on the roof of the workshop. Doing this really kind of does give you a leg up on keeping bark on. Check for clearance. Okay. Alright, now we keep going with this. I probably won't be talking much when I'm doing this because I'm really concentrating on not getting a catch here on the edge. Just keeping a close eye here on that there. Now I'm down low enough to put some CA in that bit. And that should be the bark safe now. This one is very awkward because of the height difference between here and here. It's quite awkward to do it. Now I need to go down in there a little bit more. So now, thickness wise, there's another cut or two there on the bottom. The walls aren't too bad, right, but I do need to get another cut on that bottom. too bad. What I want to do before I get a finish cut in there is I want to treat those cracks. Right, now you can see those cracks there. You can see that they're mostly filled from the outside, but I just want to make doubly sure that they are filled. Now I want to very, very carefully get a finish cut on this. Right, with a negative rake scraper. Right, get a bore on this. Right, that's a little high in the middle there for a negative rake scraper. So take it down with the gouge. Now, negative rake scraper. Very, very carefully. I do not want to go up onto the bark with this. I do not want to go up onto the bark of this at all. If I can help it. That is about as far as I'm willing to go with this. Right then, not too bad. There is a tool mark there that I have to get rid of. Just there. It's just under the bark. Right, so I'm going to give this a fresh edge to get rid of that. Right, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but it's a tool mark just there. So I'm going to try and very, very carefully take that out of it. It's quite a heavy tool mark as well. Not like the little light ones. I get it. I did. Right. Okay, I'm gonna sand the inside of that, and then we'll come back and we'll put a finish on it, which, as I said, is going to be Danish oil. So I'll do that and be right back. Right then, here we have it all sanded, and all the bark is still on. Right, so we'll take it off. I've blown it off. Right. Now we will put in my key back. We will put some Danish oil on it. As I said, Danish oil is something I don't often use. I only use it for these bowls. And I actually had to use the voice to get this open because it's been so long. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a page out of William's book. It's William Kenny, and I'm going to leave the tenon on it until the Danish oil dries. William's another Irish turner, lovely fella as well, Alright, it does some stunning stuff, absolutely stunning stuff, especially in Irish wood. Absolutely gorgeous stuff. I'll leave a link up there to William's channel and a link below if you want to go and have a look. Right, so as I said, right, I'll take a page out of William's book and I'm going to leave the tenon on it until this dries. Love the smell of this stuff, the smell of Danish oil. Look at that gold, isn't that gorgeous? Now, this is the reason I like to use Danish oil. Yeah, I also cut my thumb when I was sanding. I'm going to stick more plaster on that. One of the dogs barked at something and I momentarily lost concentration and I cut my thumb. Now, as I said, one of the reasons as I was saying there, one of the reasons I like to use Danish oil on these is because I like to oil the bark. I like to give the bark a bit of a pop as well. I've blown that out. Right, I'm going to grab a brush to do that. A little bit of Danish oil in a cup. Grab my little brush and work the Danish oil into that bark. It just makes the bark pop a little bit. As I was cutting this off the log, I spotted what I think might be a little bit of a burl on one side of it, on the opposite side of this log. So hopefully there is. That will be quite a nice surprise. What is that? Oh, that's actually a piece of the bark. See it there? A piece of the bark is actually a little bit silver in this. I don't think it's birch. Right, you flip it over and do the outside. Oh, isn't that nice? That is pretty. I'm making sure I get an even coat of this stuff everywhere. Right, so there is the first coat on. Isn't that pretty? Yes, that is pretty. Right. So if you enjoyed that one, or got anything out of it, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like on the video. And I'll see you in the next one.